today in the booth, we got Myles with us, man. How you feeling, G?
Feeling great, man. Feeling blessed. Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate you for coming through, my boy.
Yes, sir.
Man, this is a real blessing.
I'm excited.
So where you from for the people who don't know?
So I'm from Sacramento, California. Been out here for the first 10 years of my life. Moved to Virginia for a few years. Came back, finished out high school, and then went to college, San Jose State for a few years.
You out there turned up in San Jose State?
No, turned up, man. Just learning, living, trying to figure it out. To be honest, I didn't end up graduating from there mainly because, what I was doing wasn't really calling to me. It just wasn't spiritually in alignment. And so I had to come back to Sacramento and figure it out, and came back to home base.
Right.
Things took off. Started meeting the right people, got a studio, so it actually turned out to be a blessing.
Shout out to city.
Yeah, Sacramento, bro. Sacramento.
It's the greatest,
yep.
bro. I swear, that's what I be telling people, like, no matter what you do, you always gonna come back to the city.
Yeah, that part. It's home base, man.
So how was life growing up for you?
Life growing up was good, man. I was exposed to music a lot at a young age. So my dad was a DJ, and so we talking like thousands of CDs and tapes just in the closet. And for me, every time I would wake up, it was the Whispers, Smokey Robinson, the OJs, you know what I mean? Earth, Wind, and Fire. So I'm waking up hearing these, these vibrations. And so that was just in me. And so then, being around it, that often, and then actually like getting exposed to instruments. My dad also played like the saxophone a little bit. I had other family members who played piano. So for me, it was just like, okay, there's something to this music thing. I want to explore that.
Right.
Man, third grade, I grabbed an alto saxophone, put the reed on, the mouthpiece, adjusted it, played that first note, and have not put it down since then, So for me, music was very, very integral, like, in my upbringing, and it just, like, if there's any problems, music. If things are going great, music. Like, I was kind of like the common denominator, so,
That shit solves everything.
Right. Shouts out music, for real.
No matter what's going on. You could be your saddest day to Sunday morning cleaning up.
Yeah, right, exactly. Just straight energy, man, and it feels good and it just helps you, man.
Facts.
So, yeah.
So how'd you feel about the music you was listening to growing up and shit?
Man, honestly, it's kind of matured over time. I would say when I first would hear it, because my dad was DJing and I would be at, different parties and stuff, older people, I would see how these songs would make people feel. And so then I think at an early age, I started noticing how music can really affect people, either positively or negatively, but ultimately it can affect people. And so I think I started to notice that. And as a DJ, it's important to kind of read the room and respond, right? So I think early on I realized that music has the ability actually to heal. And I think that was something that I didn't realize till I got older. Because I was dancing, I'm like, man, why do I feel good when I'm moving like this? Or if I'm sad, like, man, why is this helping me through this? It was just that aid. And so, yeah, I would say that, now that I'm older, I look at it as a healing agent.
Facts,
definitely,
It's definitely medicine.
Yeah.
In the heaviest way you could think of, bruh.
Yeah.
Because it's not even like, all you have to do is listen to it.
Right. You know what I mean? And just the vibrations. And somebody was telling me, man, they were like, if you look at everything that's, that's matter or whatever it is, everything is vibrations, you know what I mean? And so music is a reflection of that. We are vibrations. It looks like we're, hard matter, but we're really just a collection of vibrations. And so music is an extension of us, really. And so I think that's why it's healing, because it allows our body and our minds to almost be like alchemists, where we can like move and adjust and shift things as we need to. Like,
damn.
It's really powerful,
That shit is.
Yeah, yeah, for real.
Can you play any other live instruments besides the saxophone?
Man, so I recently last year got a djembe, so that's an African drum for those who don't know. And so, man, that was something that, rhythmically, I never had like a drum set or anything like that. So that was my first time actually owning a drum. And and just very instinctively, there was so much that I was able to do, you know what I mean? It was very ancestral. So the djembe, I got a ukulele in high school. Yeah. Some of the homies were in Poly Club, so Polynesian Club, and so they wanted me to play the saxophone on some of the tracks. So I was down with it. So ultimately learned about the ukulele. So sometimes if I hit the beach or whatever, if I'm just relaxing, I'll try and break that out.
Vibes.
Yeah, SpongeBob, man, and it's yellow. It's a yellow ukulele. So SpongeBob for real, man.
That's That's fire. So being a Sac your whole life, like, how you feel about the Sacramento music scene then and now?
I would say I didn't know too much about the Sacramento scene when I was younger. I would say it wasn't until I got back from San Jose State and kind of started getting around the right people that I started to get a feel for the climate of Sacramento. I would say where it is right now, I see a lot of artists who are ultimately wanting to express themselves in the most authentic way possible. And I think now with the emergence of, technology, with social media, on the one hand, you have, potential comparisons. And I think a lot of people fall victim to that sometimes with social media and like looking to see and compare and, feeling like you need to keep up with the Joneses. But on the other hand, you have people who see the variety of expression and say, you know what, I can put my niche out there. I can put my spin on this as well. And that's what I'm seeing as I look around Sacramento. I'm seeing a lot of cats who are doing that as well. And so I tend to gravitate towards them and towards those people who see it that way and view it that way. So a lot of expansion, and there's a lot of room for collaboration. I think the more people are looking with the lens of collaboration and killing off the scarcity mindset if I have to compete, but it's abundance, man. It's something out here for everybody. Like
it's a million people out here who are going crazy right now, bro. Like the room for collaboration is open.
It's
I'm so excited to see what really booms out the city next, honestly.
Right. Agree, man. And we were talking earlier about, the importance of teamwork, and the importance of like everybody has a specific skill set that you may not have, and that's cool. You know what I mean? It's cool to have humility and say, you know what, I'm good at this, but I struggle with that. But the homie over here is great at that, so let's team up, and let's kill shit.
Facts, bro. That shit is heavy. Teamwork make the dream work, for real.
That part.
Who inspires you the most to make music?
Who inspires me the most to make music? To be honest, I would say God or a higher power. Something that's beyond myself. I think when I was younger, it was just the sound, the intimacy between myself and the saxophone. But over time, I started to realize that it was kind of bigger than that. Like I was given a gift, and so for one, it was kind of like an offering back to the source that gave me the gift. But then two, I started teaching students, so like elementary school kids, middle school, high school. And once I started seeing their growth, that changed a lot for me in terms of my work ethic. Yeah, because it's like, oh wow, I've seen them go from point A to point B. I've seen the light bulb go off. I've seen people come back, hey, I auditioned for this and got in. And I mean, that stuff like gives you all the energy. And so, I mean, even now I'm just like, man, I want to go practice after this, just like, so I can get better, so I can like help somebody else out. Once I figured out, I'm going to give it to you. So yeah, so that became, yep, exactly. So it is like beyond me at that point, so.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've heard that, honestly. Like somebody really going back to the community and helping the kids out with music. That's dope, bro. Yeah. That's our next line of music coming up. You feel me?
Right, exactly. Man, bro, and we were talking earlier about, the how distracting social media can be, and again at a young age, falling prey to comparing yourself and not feeling good enough, blah blah blah, but ultimately having something that gives you a voice.
Facts.
That's huge. And then the voice, the confidence, the discipline, there's a lot of benefits, to doing that. And so I feel like over time that grows. And I even tell some of my students, even on a financial tip, you get to a certain place where, skill wise, you won't have to clock in somewhere else, where now you can hire yourself type thing. Yep. So, and a lot of them will respond to that aspect of it as well. And so ultimately it's like kind of putting the life back into your own hands, through music,
Facts. That's what we need, honestly. Yeah. School ain't really teaching nobody nothing about how to be a good employee.
No, yeah. Like they give you, the certain amount of hours that in school that's pretty much the damn near the same as a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? And so they're training people, and you got this little lunch, and then you got to go back to like none of this stuff means anything. Nobody's passionate. Like, here, kid, here's some Adderall. Here's some chill pills. Like, sit still.
Crazy, bro.
You know what I mean? Nobody's really, like, teaching and learning and, like, expanding. So
shout out to them rare teachers who really actually give a fuck about that.
Right. You know what I mean? And
so what you need out there.
Yeah, and it's crazy because there's a lot of them, and I started realizing, because I started talking with other educators and teachers, and I realized, man, it's the system that some of them, because some of them are well-meaning, but then they get caught up in the system, and over time they get worn down, and they're just like, man, I just need that check, you know, tell the student to leave, you know what I mean? So just like, how can we change the system, even if it's outside of it? So that's why like doing things outside of the system to try and like, you know, shift things around. Yeah.
That shit's tight, bro.
Yeah.
So being like so deep into music and shit, I know some people listen to music clean, some people listen to music cook and shit like that. What kind of music do you listen to when you're feeling down? What kind of music do you listen to to cheer yourself up?
Okay. So if I'm down, I would say it's like something called binaural beats. So that's one option. So it's like kind of like drones. So it's like you'll just hear a steady tone of something, almost like if you were to just hum that note. It's kind of like that. But for me, it's like this. We were talking earlier about vibrations. It like almost physically brings your body to like a homeostasis kind of thing. So I'll listen to music that allows me to kind of focus on my breathing, like very practical things basically. So it's like usually no lyrics, to be honest, because sometimes when there's lyrics, it can be either it can be negative and it's not really helpful, or it almost is dictating where the music is going, if that makes sense. Like if it's a song and they're talking about ice cream cones, it's kind of hard to get ice cream cones out of your head, right? But if it's an instrumental, you can kind of take that into whichever world, and I noticed that for me is very helpful.
That's dope.
Yeah, so binaural beats, drones, harp music. Like I like a lot of like just string lush kind of sounds. It's very, very relaxing for me.
That's tight, bro.
Yeah.
So being into like live instruments and shit, you must I don't know if you watch movies or anything like that, but you must like tune in with the soundtrack more than you do with the movie.
Oh yeah. Do you
have a memorable, like the most memorable soundtrack from the movie?
For me, it's Inception.
Shit.
Yeah, Inception. So man, that movie changed a lot, because I saw that, I think it was my senior year in high school, and you know, I thought I was like, maybe I should be an accountant or a marine biologist. So, I mean, you know, at that time, things, you just have interests going all over the place. But man, I watched that movie, and I mean, it talked about dreams and the subconscious. So that was something I was always interested in. But that soundtrack was epic. There's so many, just the range of sounds and emotions. I bought into it. And then ultimately one of the last few songs, man, to be honest. So for me, if I like something, like a piece of music, I can listen to it a lot. So this particular tune, when I heard it, the song was called Time. When I tell you, bro, I listened to that song maybe 6-7 hours on repeat without just all right, next, you know. So that was very impactful. It actually made me decide, you know what, I actually want to go to school for music and pursue this beyond just, you know, in high school.
Right.
So for me, the soundtrack was huge. Like I would go to the movies, just by myself, just to actually study the score and just study like what's happening. People like, man, you going by yourself? That's kind of weird. I'm like, I'm on a mission to like take notes. You know what I mean? It's beyond exactly right, exactly. So yeah, that's how I was looking at it, man.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah.
God, because usually people really don't like, they just watch the movie.
Right.
They don't really tune in with the music behind it.
Yeah, and how much that music is
really affects the movie.
Because I would tell people, I'm like, man, if somebody was like, you know, singing Itsy Bitsy Spider while Paranormal Activity was happening, it would, you know what I mean? It would be like if Barney started singing while, you know, it's just right. Yeah, it doesn't. It changes the mood entirely. You know what I mean? So just thinking right, exactly. It's gone. Scrap it. So it's like approaching it that way. Like, wow, yeah, the music is very much helps and dictates where the movie goes.
Most definitely.
You know, so
sounds bringing that shit all together.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
How would you best describe the music you make?
How would I best? I would say authentic. I would say it's the more and more that I'm learning how to express. I've had to do, you know, and I'm still working on it, like the deprogramming, as it were, of like what's been told in schools and stuff on what sounds good or what you're supposed to play, what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to feel, and really deprogramming those things and really tapping in with myself. Like, well, what do I like to do? You know, what the hell kind of music do I tap in with? Like, because these teachers that are telling me this and that, they don't listen to Smokey Robinson, they don't listen to the OJs, they don't listen to D'Angelo, Big Crit, like, you know, they don't.
Bulletproof.
You know, yeah, they listen, and a lot of times listening to cats from, you know, 300 years ago, listen to Mozart, and that stuff's cool, don't get me wrong, but when you use that as the basis for another student's like skill set or where they're going, you're completely missing it. So
changed over the many years.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, man, I would say that, the music that I make is authentic to me, and I work every time that I'm making it to like be as true and authentic to what that moment calls for as possible. So if nothing else, when people hear my music, if they're like, oh man, I was dope, cool. If they're like, man, it was kind of weak, but you know what, that inspired me, maybe I can do my thing, cool. Right. You know what I mean? Or if you just didn't like it, cool. Either way, you checking it out, I appreciate it. But I think really my goal though is just to get the point across that we all have an opportunity to express ourselves authentically, and whatever venue or whatever avenue that is, pursue that.
Right, straight up, bro. Yeah. That shit's dope, bro. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
What's your creative process like?
My creative process, that shifts. I would say it shifts because I'm still kind of new to the music making process of it all. So I've been a musician for a while, but the artistry part of let me record my own music, that's something that's a little bit new. But right now, I would say the biggest thing is tapping in with music that I ultimately enjoy, and then getting into that element. So I'll be at my studio. I'll have a playlist going of just music that I love, and I'll just be playing along to it, and I'll just keep jamming. And so when I'm in that element, sometimes I'll either take something from a song where, you know what, I like that backbeat. Let me try and see if I can make not something like that, but elicit that same emotion within myself that this one just made me feel. So I'll go and do that, and then from that say, okay, what can I do off this? So that's one of them, is kind of drawing inspiration from some other tunes. A lot of times, just I'm in a band called Frequency, and so the homies Joey, Keenan, Theo, they got their instruments, so we're all up in there. And whatever we come up with in that moment, we all feed off of each other. So it's very, very organic. And then within that, then it's like, oh, you know what? That groove was kind of tight. Record. Yep. And then it's just boom, there it is. And so that's something that I found most recently to be the most enjoyable, is that collective expression. Is doing it with like the people around me that I'm close with, that I trust their artistic expression as well. Right. Because then you can feed off of that. And again, it's like that iron sharpens iron. It's like, man, if I'm around, the homie Joey over here on keys, well, he's raw as shit. So like, I'm only going to get better from like, tapping in with him. Facts. So I love that creative process, man. Doing it with other people who are like-minded.
Have you done any live shows lately?
Live shows, yeah. So the last, we actually, every third Friday at the Brick House in Oak Park. Oh, tight. The band and I, Higher Frequency is the name of the event. We have a show that's going to be usually from 6 to 10. So last month was when we had our last show. We had it on a truck, like this kind of like 2-tier trucks. We were on top. Had this dope sound system, something completely different. So that's going to be November 19th is going to be our next show. We have a couple other shows coming up as well. October 23rd at the Brazilian Arts Center. October 28th at Shady Lady. Let's see, November 12th at Luna's. Yeah, Luna's Cafe. And then the 19th at Brick House. So, just trying to make it work, man. Just trying to get these deadlines, which I'm realizing now that having these deadlines, you kind of have to step up to the plate, which is super helpful. So, those are the next shows coming up. Yeah, we, really are trying to like put our foot into the soil of Sacramento and let people know that we here with it. So, yeah, man.
If you can open up a show for like any big artist, who would you pick?
Alive? Current?
Anybody.
Oh, okay. Damn, that's a hell of a question. Who would I want to open for? Man, honestly, okay, so I'll give you, if you don't mind, I'll give you two answers. So one, if I was with the group Frequency, personally, I would want to open for like Earth, Wind, and Fire. Just because I feel like just that energy, that blackness, and I'm also kind of partial to Parliament. So just straight funk, just heavy on the one. A lot of people from the West Coast, a lot of rappers from the 90s were sampling from Parliament because it was just that funk, that G funk. So yeah, I would say them as far as Frequency. For myself, I would want to open for John Coltrane. So John Coltrane, is an old school saxophone player, super spiritual, but highly skilled at the instrument. He's somebody who, I look up to in terms of his dedication to his craft. The friends that were around him said, they'd be at a hotel, they'd be watching sports, and he'd be playing this instrument. Cat's like, man, it's hella loud in there, whatever. And he would just take the mouthpiece off and just finger for a couple hours and just, you know what I mean? That's Spartan practicing. So when I see that, I'm like, I resonate with that. I love hearing that. You know what I mean? So I would want to open for him, bro. Like that would be the guy. Yeah.
If you could ask for anything like in the green room, food wise, what would you pick?
Ooh, food wise, let's see. What am I feeling?
Cash out?
What am I feeling, bro? I love tacos.
Oh,
I'm a fan of tacos. I love tacos, but I'm also a fan of like smoothies. So I like when it's like a variety of different like healthy stuff just mixed all into a drink. So it depends. Like if I'm pre-show or pre-something, then probably like a smoothie, something light, something that's gonna help me vitamin-wise. Post-show, when it's time to feast, like throw in some tacos and cilantro, heavy on the limes. Sweets? Yeah, honestly, so my girlfriend, shout out Dank Sweets, at Dank Sweets. She's a cannabis infuser, so she does a lot of baked goods and infuses cannabis in it as well. So, ironically, cake jars and like, all the bun cakes and cookies and all that kind of stuff. So since being with her, since living with her, I've definitely increased my sweet intake for sure.
That's heavy,
yeah.
Lucky for you, we got this nice cake jar from
Mary
J's.
Yeah,
go ahead. What's up? We ain't got no spoon, bruh.
Yeah, we gonna make it work though. We gonna make it work.
Go caveman style.
Yeah, so we got so Sweet Mary J's, right here, looking clean. All right, y'all. So we don't have a spoon and stuff, so we gonna make this work. So however it comes across, it's all love. All right, here we go. So let's see, what's the best way to. All right, so we just gonna dip in.
Oh yeah, this ain't your first time.
Oh yeah, that's official.
Yeah.
Feels like it's my birthday.
The year?
Like, hey, it's my birthday. Hey. Now, this solid. This solid, y'all.
Mary J's.
Shout out to Mary J's. Yep. Where can the people get this from?
She got, you can follow her on Instagram. You can throw that thing up and show them the people.
Okay.
Nice. At Sweet Mary J's, you hear me? Real plug.
Right there. Right there.
Blessing.
So, yeah, that's a birthday one right there.
She low-key like unannounced sponsor of the show for real.
Okay.
Yeah, she be coming through blessed every Sunday. I swear, she's a real plug.
Yeah, I really like what y'all have going on here, man, too. And I mean, again, you were telling me earlier, like, kind of been doing this just a couple months, but it's always just so dope to see people expressing stuff that they're passionate about and then putting it out there. That's another side of the coin that, is difficult to do. So
for real.
Shouts out to you as
Everybody
well.
Can do the work. It's just let the people see it.
Yeah, that part. Man, that was good. Yeah, that was fire.
Yes, sir. You done any collabs lately?
Any collabs? So actually was just working with Cheat Code Beats a couple weeks ago, so shouts out Cheat Code. I've also been doing, again, just work with Frequency, so again, the homie Keenan Jackson Music, Theo, so also known as Savo, that's his stage name, and then Joey Archie, so J Archie Music as well. So those have been the main collabs as well. But really, man, I'm open to jamming with any and everybody in Sacramento. Like we were saying earlier, just like people who are like-minded, who are really looking to try and add value and add love and freedom and expression and authenticity to the wavelengths. Let's link up.
That's heavy, bro.
Yeah.
What's the best advice you've been given?
That I've been given? Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. So it's all about perspective, accountability, and ownership, and ultimately being an alchemist. So it's kind of like, man, I have to do these DoorDash things in order to get a certain amount of money to pay some bills, right? Or saying, you know what, I get to do that. I get to go out here and I get to explore. I get to see what the city has to offer. I get to get paid. What a blessing to be in a position to even, I know it sounds crazy, but to even have bills, because some people are in really dire situations, you know what I mean? So what a blessing that you even got a car to whip around to even get these orders. So changing the perspective just completely changes the way you operate. And so that was something that was huge for me. You know what I mean? I really needed that at that time. So, it's been helpful.
Bro. Yeah. That's some real advice right there.
Yeah, for real.
How do you feel like your ear for music's changed over the years?
It's more active now. So I think I'm listening more actively. Before it was kind of passive. So like I was saying, my dad was a DJ. So a lot of it is very internal, right? It's very cellular. But it was kind of going just in my ear, and I wasn't actively like, well, what are the drums doing? What's the bass line doing? What's the vocals? But as I started getting older and just being around, people and just seeing their maturity of listening, then I realized, oh, there's more to listening than just sitting there and having the music play. So now it's more active. So now it's like, okay, how do I feel when I hear this? And then it's like, okay, what elements from this can I draw from that really resonate with me? Can I hear the bass? Can I hear the piano? So now I would just say more awareness has been added to it. But also I would say more openness too. And that's been more recent, like within the last couple years. I noticed that I kind of started to close myself off, like, oh, I don't listen to this type of music. I don't listen to that type of music. But you don't want to just pigeonhole yourself, because you never know. And in general, I feel like I'm pretty diverse in listening to music, but I noticed that there was a time frame where it was like, I'm just writing that whole genre off, or writing this whole genre off, or artist off. But you never know where you'll find gems or ideas or inspiration. So just being open and like pinpointing the things that you like.
That's heavy, bro. Factuals.
Yeah.
That's a real good way to move around, honestly.
Yeah.
Who's a famous musician you admire?
A famous musician that I admire. Man, so I gave you somebody, from the past, because John Coltrane unfortunately passed. So I'm gonna give you somebody that's a little bit more current. I would have to go with Robert Glasper. So for a couple different reasons. One of the reasons was that he was somebody that was, instrumental in kind of shifting the paradigm towards like, okay, if you play piano or if you play jazz, right? If you play jazz, then you can only play this type of jazz. But he kind of exposed the fact that, well, first of all, this is all black music. So really, whatever elements we decide to choose from, I can still express this as an artist without feeling pigeonholed to I have to be a jazz musician, I have to be an R&B. I can just be black on stage making music. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. And so seeing that and still seeing it on a day-to-day is just really inspiring. And he works with Common, he works with Christian Scott, Terrace Martin. All these people has done, numerous productions for Kendrick Lamar and a lot of other artists. And so just seeing how he's created his own niche, but ultimately how he's just performing black music. Right. And that's what I vibe with.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah.
What's one message you give to your fans?
To my fans, I would say continue to check in with yourself. Like, continue to check in and tap in. Now, that can mean a myriad of different things, but I would say check in with yourself. Like, how am I doing? How do I feel? How does this situation make me feel? Kind of like we mentioned with the music, like being a more active listener, being a more active participant in your own life, and asking the questions like, man, do I like being around these people? You know what? I don't. Okay, so then remove yourself. You know what I mean? Right. So asking the right questions and then trusting yourself. Just because I feel like ultimately, whether people listen to my music or not, I just really want the collective to just get to a place where we can all identify within ourselves what feels good, what doesn't feel good, and to trust that and then go and then act on that. So that would be my advice to y'all.
Straight up, good advice. Live by that, people.
Yeah, sir.
Hear me? If you don't need to be around them niggas, do not be around
them. Move quickly.
Oh, God.
Yep.
So what's next for you, my boy? I know you was giving us the little tour dates and stuff.
Yeah. So currently working on a couple different projects. So right now I have my first EP that's going to be coming out in January, and that's called Vibrational Alchemy. So ironically, we've been talking about vibrations and alchemy, and honestly, that just resonates with me very, very much. So I'm like, you know what? I feel like this title is going to be a reflection of the music that's going to be on it. So that's going to be the name of that one. And then Frequency, again, the band that I'm involved with, we have an EP coming out as well. We don't actually have the name of it yet, but we have the song titles. And what's real slick about that is we have the song titles, right? And we actually got some incense made from one of the OGs out in LA. Okay. Custom incense that basically is the ingredients for each of the titles names for the song. Right. So Sage, Palo Santo. tea tree. So all those things are blended into that ingredient for that incense. So if you buy or cop our EP, cop some merch, then you get the incense with it as well. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah.
That's heavy. Yeah. Bro. That's the first I've heard of custom incense.
Yeah, that part, man. So we trying to do it. You know what I mean? It's like a holistic approach, trying to get all the senses. Get everybody involved and into it. So
that's heavy.
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
The touch, feel, smell.
Yeah.
Hear,
Yep. Literally the experience. That's how we, for the most part, experience as humans. So it's like, how can we pinpoint all those elements?
That's heavy, bro. I really appreciate you for coming through,
man. Boy. Likewise, bro, man. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys for tuning in and keep tapping in with these interviews because it's only going up. For real.
Bueno.
Sir. Yes. Yep.
That was a perfect one.
Man, that was smooth, bro. That was super smooth.
Going crazy with that shit, bro.
Oh yeah.
That's
Oh yeah. I was like, we gotta taste this. Like that.